Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. What a crowd this is. Look at this. These are incredible people. You're incredible people. Unbelievable. So many people outside would like to let them in. Would anybody like to give up their seat or their standing area? Well, a very special hello to Allentown, a great place, and hello, Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are. But I'd like to begin with a very, very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I don't think so. I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote this election, oh, do I look forward to this election? Do we look? I'm going to say we, because we're going to do it as a group. Look, Mr. Wall over here is the greatest guy. I want to buy one of those suits. We will end inflation. We will stop the invasion of criminals into our country. And we will bring back the American dream. We're doing it together, Pennsylvania. Our country will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure, the worst administration in the history of our country. Jimmy Carter is a happy man. Jimmy Carter looks like a brilliant, brilliant president by comparison. Or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to turn it around fast. I'm asking you to be excited about the future again. You have to be excited about the future. They've taken all that excitement away from you. They've embarrassed us. They've embarrassed us. Kamala has embarrassed us. She doesn't have what it takes. I'm asking you to dream big again. You're going to dream big, and this is going to be a very special time. It's going to be America's new golden age. We're going to make it a golden age. It seems impossible, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem impossible with these stupid people that we've had to put up with over the last 4 years? We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We were energy independent 4 years ago. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. It's in your hands. If we win Pennsylvania, we're going to win the whole deal. Got to do it. Next Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough. You're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. Get out of here. You're fired. You're fired. Get the hell out of here. You were a terrible VP, but you were an even worse border czar. How about our border czar? And Border Patrol last week endorsed me with the strongest endorsement they've ever given. And they said that she was unfit to run the border. Can you imagine? I said, how many times did she call you in 4 years? Almost 4 years. They said, she never called us once. I said, how about you? No, she never called. She never called any of us, sir. Never called us. She was the border czar, but she never called. She's incompetent. She's incompetent. We've set an all-time record in the early voting, by the way, so if you have a mail-in ballot, get that damn ballot in, please, immediately, because they've already started cheating in Lancaster. They've cheated. We caught them with 2,600 votes. No, we caught him cold. 2,600 votes. Think of this. Think of this. And every vote was written by the same person. I wonder how that happened. It must be a coincidence. It must be a coincidence. And then in York, I know York because I used to be a big weightlifter. Then after about 3 days, I decided to give it up. It wasn't for me. That's where they had all the weights, right? They had the weights. I built that room. I loved building it. I enjoyed it so much. Then we put the weights down, and I said, I don't like that. That's no fun. I like building the room. I just didn't like lifting the weights. But York, they had a great bodybuilder. This was the bodybuilding capital of the world, right? Isn't it? Yeah. I wanted to be here as a contestant one day. I just didn't want to do the work. It's too much work. We had enough to do. But if not, get everyone you know to the polls on November 5th, and you have to vote, vote, vote. We got to vote. We got to get these people out of there. We got to vote fast. Today they're busing people. You know, they're in a place in Washington, and they got buses all up. They're busing people because they couldn't get anybody to show up for her tonight. I didn't bus anybody. You're all here. This place is packed. She can't get anybody. 3 days ago, she said Beyonce was coming. So people came to see Beyonce, but Beyonce went up, thank you very much, everybody, and then she left. She didn't sing. And then they all left. She was speaking, nobody, and they were booing the hell out of her, by the way. And the fake news doesn't report those stories. That's a lot. No, that's a lot. Look at that. See, we must be coming. That is a lot of fake news. When they lose their final ounce of credibility, they'll probably turn good again because they're losing so much credibility. Do you know when I first started running, their approval rating, when the very beginning, before maybe I even started, it was like 92% favorable rating. You know what it is now? 12%. I drove it down like almost 90 points. I drove it down numbers. I'm very proud of it. I've exposed them as being fake. But with your help, 1 week from today, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris and the media. And we're going to win back that beautiful, beautiful White House, and we're going to make America great again. In less than 4 years, Kamala has shattered our middle class. You notice I don't mention Joe, Crooked Joe. He's so crooked, it's hard to believe. Because they basically took the presidency away from me. You know, they just walked up and said, you're not running anymore. I don't use the word coup. It's too Frenchy sounding for me. No, they just took it away. I like that better. They took it away. They walked in, they said, no, he had a rough debate. I would say it was rough. But after the debate, he went down very big. And, you know, he should have been allowed. He got 14 million votes. He got no votes. He was the first one. Look at that front row, Joe. These guys are unbelievable. They follow me. They follow me all over the place. But he's in the second row. What the hell happened to you tonight? Front row Joe that's a big story. The press is going to get you. He's a great guy. They're patriots. The front row Joes and the ladies from North Carolina, they've been here 259 times, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. And we have Mr. Wall. I'm going to buy that suit, but I don't have that much time left because hopefully we're going to win. And then we're not going to be playing games anymore. We got to straighten out our country. So we're going to be meeting, but a different forum. We're going to be meeting as I tell you how well we're doing, how we're winning. We're going to win big. We had the best economy in history. We're going to make it much better than even that. We're going to bring all these companies that left us because of stupid politicians on our side. They allowed it to happen. They're all coming back. Either that or they're going to have to pay tariffs like they never had to even think about before. Kamala cast the deciding votes that launched the worst inflation of your lifetime. I believe it's the worst inflation in the history of our country because they don't show the real. It's like, did you see about a month ago, they came up with 818,000 jobs that were fake. They put them in. These are cheaters. And today they got caught. Think of it. They got caught cheating in Lancaster County. They got caught in York. But think, it's no different. Think of it. They put in 818,000 fraudulent jobs. So the job reports came out. Said, oh, they're doing pretty good. That's good. That's good. And they weren't going to adjust. You know, you adjust when you find out that somebody was a fraud. You adjust. And they weren't going to do it until right after the election. But we had a whistleblower that blew the whistle on them. Really dishonest. You know, I always say we meet to decide where we're going to campaign, what we're going to say, how we're going to... They meet, how can we cheat? This is their meeting. Because who the hell can win an election with open borders, transgender everybody, men playing in women's sports? No, think of it. Men allow millions of people through an open border, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. They come from parts unknown. They come from countries you've never even heard of, and then you find out that they came from jails and mental institutions. No, they cheat like hell, and it's a damn disgrace. So we're going to get it straightened out. We got to get it straightened out. No, they caught us in Pennsylvania. We haven't seen it elsewhere, but we've seen it. And by the way, just to feel good, I don't like to speak too early, but you have to get out and vote because we need that real, we want a big, beautiful number. We're leading in every single swing state. Because normally Republicans, they like to vote at the end. No matter what you say, they like to vote at the end. They like to be there on Tuesday where they can watch it actually go into that beautiful, often corrupt machine. No, we're going to get it straightened out. Kamala cost the typical American family over $30,000 in higher prices because of their ridiculous inflation. And listen to this, they killed 50,000 manufacturing jobs just this year alone. They're killing our country. And Scott Bessent, one of the biggest and best, one of the most brilliant. Oh, look at that, they know him. It's not a huge amount of people. It's pretty good. Whoa. Oh, wow. Scott Bessent, he's one of the great Wall Street analysts, considered one of the best. He said, the economy is no good, but the stock market is only going up for one reason, because everyone thinks that Trump is going to win the election and we're going to take it to new levels, they say. That's what he said. It's true. You want to see a market crash? If we lost this election, I think the market would go down the tubes. Now, Kamala, she says, God forbid. God forbid. I like you. Who are you? Stand up. I like this woman. Thank you. God forbid. Thank you, darling. She's got a lot of spunk, doesn't she? Thank you, darling. She said, I say, if we lose this, and she starts screaming, God forbid. Do you think she's voting for Trump? I think so. Thank you. Thank you, darling. You are something. We have the greatest people, don't we? Greatest people. The other day, Madison Square Garden on Sunday night, and we had them all. That was the greatest evening anyone's seen politically. I mean, Madison Square Garden is really big. It's big, and it's beautiful, and it's MSG, and the Dolan family, Jim Dolan, they were so nice. They said they've never seen a crowd like this. The thing went all the way back to the river, and I don't mean like single line or doubles. I mean like massive amounts of people went back to the Hudson River. The love was unbelievable. We had Elon. We had incredible people. Elon. You know, Elon Musk has been campaigning every single day in Pennsylvania. He's a great guy. You know, when that rocket landed last week, I saw that rocket land. I said, this guy, if that's his, I got to call him. I said, was that yours? He said, that was mine. That sucker came back down. I thought there was something wrong. I told people I was on the phone with somebody. I put it down. I forgot about the guy. He was a very important guy. 45 minutes later, he's still holding. Oh, are you still holding? I said, I got to watch this. Excuse me. And I saw it come down, and it looked like in big trouble, right? It came down. It was all beautiful white when it lifted off, and now it's coming down. It's dark black because of the heat. 10,000 miles. Think of that, 10,000 miles an hour. As opposed to, we drive at 50 or 60, right? 10,000 miles an hour. The heat is so hot you couldn't even get near it. You couldn't touch it. It's coming down, and now it's baked. Totally different looking machine, right? And it's coming in, and it's going to crash. I'm saying, oh, no. It's going right next to the gantry. It's coming down at an angle. I don't like that. It's not good. But what the hell do I know? It's up to Elon, not me, but it's coming. And then all of a sudden you see the fire and the jets go in the bottom and fire's ripping ripping it apart. Ripping it. And the fire's just ripping the bottom of it and pushing it away. It was right next to ripping the whole gantry down. The whole thing was going to come crashing down. And those jets went off, and the flames and I never saw anything like it. And it straightened it out. Then it came, and those beautiful arms came, and they hugged it like you would hug your little beautiful baby. Like you'd hug a baby, see? I stay away from the other thing that you hug on occasion. No, it's like you're hugging your beautiful baby. Just hugged it right in there. So I call him. I say, that was you, wasn't it? Yeah, that was me. Can Russia do it? No. Can China do it? No. Can the U.S. do it other than you? No, nobody can do that. I've never seen anything like it. I said, so why do you do that? That was a stupid question. Why do you do that? Well, you know, it costs about $1 billion to build the sucker. It's nice when you don't drop it into the ocean and have to start over. It's nice to be able to use it about 30 times more, right? Now, he's a fantastic guy, and he gave me the best endorsement virtually of anybody. He said, if Trump doesn't win, our country is gone. Think of it. Think of it. And he's campaigning. You know, he put on the black hat, right? Now, I never even knew we sold the black hat. The red hat, yes. The white hat, yes. But I never knew we had a black hat. And see, he's just a different kind of a guy. And he has a black hat, and it says, Make America Great Again, but it's also in black. So I said, where'd you get the hat? He said, it's dark MAGA. That was the name. And he wore it to Butler. We had 107,000 people in Butler. Can you imagine? We had 107,000 people in Butler celebrating the life of a great gentleman, a great fireman, Corey, a great firefighter and respected guy. Yeah, that was a beautiful 107,000 people. And they came from all over. I mean, it was, you know, because it's not a very sparsely populated, you know, it is sparsely populated. And it's not lots of people there. And, man, you couldn't see the end of the cars. You couldn't see the end of the crowd. It was so beautiful. The whole thing was beautiful. We had the opera singer there. We had the bells. I said, we're going to do a moment of silence. Give us some bells. Okay, sir, we'll try buying them. And they couldn't buy, like, the bell. The biggest bell they could buy was like that. I said, no, the bells of Notre Dame. They say, we can't get them here, sir. They're too heavy. They're too heavy. They happen to be taken right now. I said, no, just get them off the internet. Don't worry about it. And it's amazing what you can get off the internet. We had the bells playing, and then we had Christopher. We had the great opera singer. He's a great singer. He's a great voice. And he sang Ave Maria. And the whole place, I'm looking at 107,000 people. I would say 100,000 of them were crying. And the other 7 are beyond, you know, they're too tough for me. I don't like those 7,000. Everybody was crying, and it was a beautiful thing. But Elon's wearing the black hat, and the good news is this: we didn't sell any. He was the only one that bought one. After that weekend, you know what? We sold 10,000 black hats the following day. Can you believe it? There was a run on black hats. Boy, do we have great congressmen and senators here today. This guy Rubio is pretty good, isn't he, though? Huh? I watched him in the plane coming in, and I wanted him to speak again. I said, they don't mind hearing you twice. That's how good you are, Marco. But at a minimum, Marco, when it's your time, I'm going to bring you up and shake your hand because he has been a great senator, and he's a great guy. True. It's true. He's a great guy, smart guy. He's a smart guy. Sometimes he's a little too smart. He's a good guy. He's a good man. Thank you, Marco. Now, Kamala wants to raise the typical family's taxes, by the way. You know, every time she does a commercial, she lies. She's a real liar. She's worse than Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary was a liar. Remember? Remember? Irredeemable. What was the word before irredeemable? Right? I thought irredeemable was going to be the bad word, right? Little did I know. Little did I know. But Crooked Hillary used to lie a lot, but she's nothing compared to Kamala. And the difference is Crooked Hillary is much smarter, but she suffers from a major case of Trump derangement syndrome. Now, she's got big, they all do. Well, these Democrats were driving them crazy. We don't like them because they don't love our country. Now Kamala wants to raise the typical family's taxes by nearly $3,000 a year and impose a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. And she wants to get rid of, I gave you something that's great. If you're a small farmer, if you're a business owner, a small business owner, estate taxes were killing you because you pass away. If you love your child, I would say don't even bother listening. If you love your child, good. If you don't love your child, it doesn't matter. Then don't leave the stuff. But if you wanted to leave your estate to your beautiful kids, which most does anybody in here not love their child or their children? I've only had one hand raised, and about 20 times I asked that. And people beat that person up. They actually went after him. That guy was in bad shape. And because I actually think he meant it. No, but you know what? They want to get rid of the estate tax. So you have no estate tax to pay if you leave your farm to your kids, if you leave your business to your kids. You have no estate tax to pay. She wants to get rid of that. She doesn't like that. And you know what was happening, especially with the farmers, because they leave their beautiful farm, and it's it's got asset value, but it's a hard kind of a business, but a beautiful business. And they'd leave, think of it, they'd leave their farm, and then the kids have to go out and they had to borrow money because you had like a 50% tax. So they appraise it, you have to go out, borrow money. And they end up always like 80%, 82% of the time or something, they end up losing the farm. It turns out to be a nightmare. I got rid of the estate tax or the death tax, so you don't have that anymore. And she wants to get rid of that. She's a tough guy. She's a tough one. She destroyed the city of San Francisco, it's one of the greatest cities of the world. She destroyed it, and she worked with Gavin Newsom, one of the worst governors in history, to destroy California. And we're not going to let her destroy the United States of America. We're not going to let her. If Kamala gets 4 more years, your family will never, ever recover. And by the way, Michelle Obama was very nasty to me. Ooh. Oh, she was nasty. I've gone out of my way to be nice to Michelle. I've gone out of my way to be nice to Michelle. Never said a bad thing about her when other people didn't like her so much. And she hit me the other day because they're desperate. They don't want Trump back because we're going to turn this country around and show how bad they were and how incompetent they were. But she hit me. Now, the fake news doesn't care about that. But if I hit her, they'll say, oh, what a horrible thing it was. She can hit me. She can go and she can say whatever the hell she wants. If I hit her just a little tiny bit, oh, he's a bully. He's a bully. Nah, she shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Right, Mr. Wall? Can't do that. Can't do that, sir. If I win, we will quickly build the greatest economy in the history of the world. We will rapidly defeat inflation, and very simply, we will make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses, and we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. Right? And I've just announced that I will support a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of a parent or a loved one. You know, these people are just not recognized. If they had to go through the hospital system, the people they're caring for, we wouldn't have hospitals. You could build hospitals every day in America. You wouldn't have enough. They take care of our country. They really do. And we're going to get them a big, beautiful tax credit. And they do it with love. No hospital could do the job. They do it with love. They have great love, and they take care of people. And they're going to be, and they're entitled to it. They're entitled to it. They can't go out and work. They can't do it. They have to watch, and they have to stay home. Oftentimes, it's a beautiful but wounded soldier. Soldiers come back, and they're in bad shape, and their mother or their wife. Their wife sometimes is incredible. Call them angels. They're angels that do this. The mothers, they take care of them. They have to take care of them, and we would have no hospital system that could do it. So they're entitled to it, right? We got so many other things we can do. We don't need that. We don't need that. You know, we have so much liquid gold down there. We'll drill so much. We'll knock the hell out of everything with that. I will also restore the SALT tax deduction. I don't know if you know what that means, but just trust me, it's a good thing. Most people have no idea. They say, what is SALT? You don't want to know about it. It's a big deduction, and your state got, you know, pretty battered by it. And we're going to restore it for you and for New York and for some other places. Starting on day one of my new administration, I will end Kamala's war on Pennsylvania energy. And we will frack, and drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. I've only seen her 100 times saying, we will never frack again. We will never. We are going to stop fracking. We're not going to frack. We're not going to frack. We're never going to frack again. Then her polls, you know, drop to the, you only have 500,000 jobs in Pennsylvania. And the income is like, you can never replace it. So she sees the polls. I think fracking would be a wonderful idea. She's such a phony. It makes you sick. And she's also crushing your energy industry with the vicious natural gas export ban. You know, you're under this ban. It's the craziest thing. And it's costing your state a lot of money. Now, with me, one thing you know, I'll never be stopping fracking. You know that. I've been very consistent for about 25 years. Drilling and fracking is good. You know, I was with somebody from Saudi Arabia recently, one of the top people. I said, when you buy the 150 planes that you just bought, magnificent Boeing 777s, I said, where do you get your financing? He looks at me, financing? He didn't know what financing was. They don't finance, they have money. We have more oil and gas than they do. And you know what? If you include Anwar in Alaska, it's the biggest oil find in the world, as big as Saudi Arabia. And I opened it. Reagan couldn't get it done. He worked so hard. Nobody could get it done. I got it done. And this guy, the biggest in the world, as big, they say, maybe as Saudi Arabia. And we could have taken care of all of Asia. We would have made so much money. This guy comes in. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. Where am I? Can't even find the stairs off a platform. And he tells you, no, he can't. Look, stair, like 4 stairs behind us. If you have to, you could jump off the front. You know, you could probably. The guy can never find his way off. Secret Service has to come up and take him off. It's terrible. I will terminate the Green New scam, and I will cut your energy prices in half within 12 months. Going to be cut in half. And to bring back millions of jobs, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. The problem is, if we had more of these idiots running our country, you won't have a big and best market anymore, because we're a nation in decline. We're going to turn that around. So you're going to be so proud of this country. And within 12 months of us taking over, you're going to be so proud of this country. But we're only going to treat... Thank you. Thank you. You know, while you guys were shouting, I was checking out my hair. Not that bad. Not that bad. I'm looking for a little skin in there, and I don't see it tonight. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. Not bad. No. Not bad. Not the greatest. Thank you very much. This is a feisty little crowd, isn't it? You know, I wish the fake news would show the crowd. You know, you could go to the far reaches of the place. The stadium is massive. But they don't want to do that. They never want to do it because they're fake. They don't want to do it. There's never been anything like it. And you know, we're going to stop with the joking. I'm going to tell you, it's sort of sad. We've been on this journey together. Almost every one of us has started together, right? And we've been doing it for 9 years. This is the final week. We're 7 days. Now we'll be 6 days tomorrow. And when you think about it, we've created the greatest movement in the history, probably of mankind, but certainly within the United States. MAGA, Make America Great Again. There's never been anything like it. We never have empty seats. We go to the biggest arena. Look, we go to Madison Square Garden. Everyone said, oh, that's so big. We could have filled it up 6, 7, 8 times with all the people trying to get in. Who ever thought? It's the greatest political movement in the history of our country, and maybe, especially if we win, this will be the greatest movement, I think, in the history of the world, okay? It's never been anything like it. And we're going to miss these giant rallies. I love the rallies. Sometimes they'll have me do like a Q&A. I'd get to a place, and there'll be a Q&A, and I'll say, gee, I love those rallies. I don't know, it invigorates all of us, right? Everyone here. And we're only going to be doing them for like a few more days. And then we have a different kind of get-together. We're going to have a get-together where we're going to talk about all the good things we're doing. It's going to be a very positive thing. But this is something that's been a special journey for all of us. I think for all of us. You have people that have been to hundreds of these. You have people that have been, you have the front row Joes, they've been to everyone. I think, look at these guys. They've been to everyone. And it's just special. And, you know, all my geniuses backstage, they think it's them. Oh, they did. I said, take a regular guy, take a regular politician. Let's see how many. So what's going to happen is in 4 years, somebody's going to be running for president. They're going to hire these guys because they think they're great. And they're going to come and they're going to do a rally, and there'll be about 300 people show up. Because that's the standard. If you took the greatest politician in the United States in history, and you said, we're going to make a speech in Pennsylvania tonight, you'd have 300, 200, maybe 400 people if they were great. We get every time 25, 30, 40,000 people, 100,000 people in Butler. 110,000 people in California. where the elections are so rigged, it's disgusting. We were out there. We had 110,000 people in California 3 weeks ago, 110,000. We had in New Jersey 107,000 people. But that Butler rally was something special, I would tell you. That was something. That was special for a lot of reasons. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will pay a very stiff tariff when they send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers and our protected companies. We're going to protect our companies, and we're going to protect through very strong tariffs. We're going to protect our whole system. And by the way, China does it and others do it. But we can do it better because we have a better product. We have a better product. The product is the USA. We have a great product. And we'll also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That means if China or any other country, it's not only China, it's everybody ripping us off. We changed it a lot. We changed it a lot. We renegotiated South Korea's deal, Japan's deal. We were in the process of the European Union. I'll tell you what, the European Union sounds so nice, so lovely, right? All the nice European little countries, they get together. They're brutal. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm products. They sell millions and millions of cars in the United States. No. They are going to have to pay a big price. And, just like I stopped that plant that was going to be built in Mexico, biggest plant in the world going to be built. And I said, and I was in Detroit at the Economic Forum, at the Economic Club, and I said, they're going to build the biggest plant there. It's going to wipe out all of Michigan. We're way up tonight in Michigan. You know why? Because of things like that. Because if they built that plant, then Detroit and Michigan as a whole, I don't think they made as many cars as this one monster plant that was owned by China. It was near the border. They were going to make millions of cars and just keep sending them into our country and destroy our jobs, destroy our whole market. We already lost about 65% from the heyday. We're going to bring it back to the heyday. We're going to bring it back, and we can do it so easily and so smartly. And I said, I'm going to put tariffs on those cars. And if 100% isn't enough, I'll make it 2. They're not going to have one car come into the United States. They'll be sitting there with all these cars and never coming in because all they're going to do is destroy our automobile manufacturing business. And you know what happened? Today, the guy that built it, the other day, he calls me up. I see him. I say, what's happening with that plant? He's the biggest builder of these auto plants. I said, I want to see one. He said, you'll have to come to Mexico. I said, I want to go to Mexico. I want to see one here. He said, we're not building them in the United States. We're building them in Mexico. I said, who owns them? China. I see, so China now, in order to save the trip, is going to build them and then really knock the hell out of a car, which they're doing in Europe, by the way. They're killing them in Europe. He said, not going to happen. I said, I don't want to see it. I don't have to see it. How big is it? He said, the biggest in the world. I said, all right. Let them know that I'm putting a 100% tariff on every car that they make. And if that's not enough, I'll double it. And I forgot about it. This was about 6-7 months ago. And I forgot about it. Then I was making a speech the other day, and I see the same guy. He's the biggest builder of auto plants. That's all he wants to do is, if you told him build an apartment, he wouldn't know how to do it. But an auto plant, fully computerized. I see him at the speech that I'm making in Detroit. And I call him over after I finish. I said, John, let me ask you, how's that big monster doing in Mexico? He said, oh, sir, they canceled it last week because they think you're going to be elected president and you're going to put tariffs on. How about that? Is that beautiful? They canceled it. But if Kamala got in, they would restart it very quickly, believe me. She doesn't exactly think too much about that stuff, does she? If China or any other countries charge us a 100 or 200% tax, then we will charge them. This is the reciprocal act that we're calling it. I'll put my name on it if they want, or I'll leave my name off. I couldn't care less, but we're going to have a reciprocal tax. We're going to charge them the same 100 or 200% tariff or tax. Called an eye for an eye. And all of the ripoff will stop immediately. I will never apologize for defending America, but isn't that a beautiful story with the plant? I mean, if Michigan didn't vote, wouldn't I be surprised? We have a big lead in Michigan, by the way, a very big lead. We have a big lead in Arizona. We have a big lead, and the fake news won't tell you, but you'll see it hopefully on Tuesday night. But by the way, you got to get out and vote, otherwise I would be very embarrassed. This is all subject to you voting. You vote. It's not, we don't have a problem in the world. But great, we're doing great in Nevada. We're doing great in Arizona. We're doing great, really good in North Carolina. How about the people of North Carolina? They showed up to vote in record numbers, and the place was practically demolished by Hurricane Helene. I was worried about that. I said, North Carolina, we thought maybe 50%, maybe 40 or 30% would show up. More people showed up to vote for this election than any election in the history of North Carolina. Is that right? Thus far. Can you believe it? They set a record. And they're voting for Trump. But I'll protect our workers. I'll protect our jobs. I will protect our borders. I will protect our families. And I will protect the birthright of our children to live in the richest and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. And as we rescue our economy, I will also restore our borders. Over the past 4 years, Kamala orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has inflicted upon its people. She allowed this to happen to us. She allowed us to be invaded. We were invaded. This was a massive invasion of criminals. She has violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens. It's vicious what's happening. They're killing our people. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions from all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo. The Congo. They're supplying lots. They're taking them out of their jails. They're opening up their jails, and they're busing them. They can't get enough buses, frankly, because I'm shocked. Venezuela is only about 60% empty. Do you know that Venezuelan crime is down 72%? You know why? Because their criminals are being taken into the United States of America. It's like, I said this, the press gave me a hard time on this one. They said it was very, no, I don't think it's disrespectful. It's like we're a giant garbage can. That's what they treat us like. And these are killers. These are drug dealers. These are gangs, gang members. These are some of the worst people. These are terrorists. And they're treating us and dumping. They're dumping like we're a dumping ground. And it includes savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women and our girls. And then they say, oh, my people said, sir, please don't say that. What? You're going to protect the women. It sounds very like, I said, well, don't they want protection? I think they want protection. No, don't. Sure, it doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good. I'm going to protect our women from criminals coming into our country and going up to the suburbs and doing really bad things. We're going to protect our men, our women, our children. We're going to protect our country. 100% protect our country. But they said it sounds terrible. It sounds so terrible when you say they can take care of themselves. So no. When you see MS-13 coming through your front door, you're not taking care of yourself. And your husband's not going to take care of you too good either, believe me. And she wants to take your guns away. We're not taking your guns away ever. Ever. Are there any women in this giant, massive arena that do not want protection? Please raise your hand. Do women want to be protected? Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office. Doesn't belong. Today, I want America to hear directly from a mother whose world has been shattered forever by Kamala. This is difficult to watch. I had a group of people watching it. It's a difficult thing to watch, but this is what's happening in our country thousands and thousands of times. Please watch.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning first to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
Yeah. I'm gonna go shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape, and immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration and our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter, she failed Jocelyn. You know, she was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
Oh, boy. That's a tough one. What a beautiful woman and what a beautiful child, and that child is no longer with us. It's just like crazy. And what they did to her, So, and you know, you have so many others, Lake and Riley. You have so many others. I could name 15 others right now, but they have thousands of them. Should be like that. You have thousands of cases like that. Many young girls, but many people are being killed by the people that come in illegally through an open border. The day I take the oath of office, the migration and this horrible migrant invasion ends, and the restoration of our country begins, and it begins in a very strong way. The savages charged with brutalizing and murdering precious Jocelyn are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua, that has taken over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent killing spree all over America. They're all over America. In Colorado, they've taken over big complexes. The governor is a radical left Democrat who's petrified. He doesn't know what to do. They have the weapons of a fine military. They've even taken over recently Times Square in New York. Please take a look.
Open borders.
Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
And was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders. He was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
This is what we're allowing into our country through these open borders. The United States is now an occupied country, whether you like it or not. We're an occupied country. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of these people. But it will soon be an occupied country no longer. On November 5th, 2024, liberation of America begins. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. We're going to get them out. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered, and we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country fast. To expedite approvals of Tren de Aragua and MS-13, an equally savage gang. I took out thousands of them during my administration, thousands. And you know who's great? ICE and Border Patrol, they're great. But in order to do what we have to do, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. 1798, that's how far back we have to go. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil, and we will do it so fast. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I am hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. Under Kamala, America is a sanctuary for criminal, illegal aliens. It's what it is. These sanctuary cities are just unbelievable. They're sanctuaries for criminals, not anybody else. I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States of America, immediately. I will end catch and release. I will end all migrant flights into our country with planes loaded up with criminal migrants. And I will ban all welfare and federal benefits for illegals, and then they won't come. Kamala's gross incompetence disqualifies her from being president of the United States. She is unfit for office. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. Everyone knows she is a low IQ individual. You know that. Low IQ. From humiliating our country in Afghanistan to the war in Ukraine, which would have never happened if I were president, to the nightmare on our border, to her inflation catastrophe, to her egregious hurricane response, worse than perhaps even Katrina. Just ask the people of North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, Florida. Kamala Harris is a train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. She's a total catastrophe. To make her president would be to gamble with the lives of millions of people. She would get us into World War III, which will be a war like no other war. This will be a war at a level that we have never seen before, that the world has never witnessed, because of the weaponry. This is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting it. This is the big deal, because she is too grossly incompetent to do her job, and then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting a draft notice. Oh, Mom, Dad, what does this mean? Son, this means you're being drafted into the military so you can potentially lose your life fighting for a country that you've never heard of. How crazy is it? How crazy are we? We give money away to all of these countries so far away, but we don't have enough money to take care of the people of North Carolina during a hurricane. Our enemies are laughing at her, but if we win, our enemies won't be laughing anymore. They're not going to be laughing. They never laughed at us. Viktor Orban, the very powerful Prime Minister of Hungary, said, bring back Trump and everything will stop. All these wars, everything will stop. They respected him. He actually said differently. He said they feared him, but I don't care. What difference does it make? But you know what? They said they would do what he wanted. China was afraid. Russia was afraid. They're all afraid. And you know what? I don't want them to be afraid. I just want respect, and they're going to respect us again. Right now, they're laughing at our country. They're laughing at us. If we win, America will be feared and respected again. And on issue after issue, Kamala broke it, and I will fix it, and I'll fix it very quickly. But we're also going to make America healthy again. As many of you know, we have talked a lot about getting dangerous chemicals out of our environment and out of our food supply. Today, I'm adding that we are going to tackle the exploding rates of childhood depression, suicide, and pediatric cancer. We have numbers that other countries don't have. We don't just want to manage these problems, we want to prevent them from happening in the first place. I will assemble the best and brightest minds, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK, with the goal of reducing by 50% within 4 years the rates of childhood cancer, depression, and suicide, and ultimately to end these epidemics entirely. They are indeed epidemics. We are not just running against Kamala, remember that, or Joe. She means nothing. She is purely a vessel. She can't put two sentences together, just like we were not running against crooked Joe Biden. We are running against something far bigger and far more powerful and more destructive than them. which is a massive, vicious, crooked, radical left machine that runs today's Democrat Party. Very smart. They're smart, they're vicious, and they hate our country. These are the people who are doing such harm to our country with their open borders policies, record-setting inflation, Green New Scam, and everything else. But we are not going to let it happen any longer. We are going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th. And we are going to make America great again. On top of it all, Kamala says she would not do one thing differently from Joe Biden, which in itself is totally disqualifying. Please.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A 5th illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train Day Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
Nothing comes to mind. What mind? You know that 325,000 children are dead, slaves or sex slaves right now. They came through the open border. That's many stadiums filled with 300. Remember that number, because if that were on the other side, like the Republican side, the fake news back there would make it the biggest story in the history of our country. 375,000 children are dead, missing, or slaves right now through her open border, and they don't even write stories about it. No, it's the worst thing that I've ever heard of, I think. If you want to end this disaster, you must get out and vote. You just have to get out and vote. We're going to beat them so badly. So we're thrilled to be joined by some incredible people. I already mentioned Senator Marco Rubio. Marco, will you come up here, please? Come on. Good man, this one. Thank you, Marco. Thank you. You want to say something? Go ahead.
All right. Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but I have breaking news for you, Mr. President. You may not have heard this. Just moments ago, Joe Biden stated that our supporters are garbage. Are garbage. He's talking about the Border Patrol. He's talking about nurses. He's talking about teachers. He's talking about everyday Americans who love their country and want to dream big again and support you, Mr. President. And I hope their campaign is about to apologize for what Joe Biden just said. We are not garbage. We are patriots who love America. And thank you for running, Mr. President.
Wow. That's terrible. That's what it says. That's what it says. So you have, remember Hillary, she said deplorable? And then she said irredeemable, right? But she said deplorable. That didn't work out. Garbage, I think, is worse, right? But he doesn't know. You have to please forgive him. Please forgive him, for he not knoweth what he said. These people, it's terrible, terrible. Terrible to say a thing like that, but he really doesn't know. He really, honestly, he doesn't. And I'm convinced that he likes me more than he likes Kamala. Convinced. But that's a terrible thing. Also with us is a wonderful woman, highly respected Puerto Rico Senator Zoraida Buxo, who's terrific. Come up here for a second. She's fantastic. Great woman, so respected in Puerto Rico and beyond. Please.
It's an honor to share the stage with you, Mr. President. And we have some unfinished business to do with respect to Puerto Rico. And if there is a leader that can get us to a final resolution, that is you. That is you. So the people of Puerto Rico trust you, and we have high hopes. As many Americans, we need this man back in the White House. We need this man to be our commander-in-chief. He will make us feel safe, and he will protect us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Highly respected person. And I'm so proud that we're getting support from Latinos like never before. We're setting every record. Hispanics, Latinos. Nobody loves our Latino community and our Puerto Rican community more than I do. Nobody. You know, it's interesting because I've done more for Puerto Rico than any president by far. Nobody close. I provided historic funding and the hospital ship when they were hit with a couple of really bad ones right in the road. We got the ship over there with thousands of rooms, actually. It was amazing. A floating hospital, the biggest in the world. I will deliver the best future for Puerto Ricans and for Hispanic Americans. Kamala will deliver you poverty and crime. That's all they're going to do. And by the way, she has slandered the people of the Catholic Church. I don't know what it is with Catholics, but they are after Catholics. But we're going to protect the Catholics too. We're going to protect. I don't know what you did, Catholics, but you're being persecuted by Kamala and her group. I will keep your families safe. I will defend religion. I will bring jobs, wealth, and factories back. And Puerto Rico in itself will be very thankful. The whole Hispanic, Latino community will be very, very thankful. And I appreciate we have numbers that nobody's ever had before. Nobody's ever had these numbers. No Republicans even come close. You take a look at some of our Republicans, they were at a tiny fraction. I may get 50% of the vote. Nobody's even heard of that before. And more and more and more and more. We're doing the right thing. Incredible people, energetic, smart, great entrepreneurial people. We appreciate, and we have a lot of them here tonight. Thank you very much. Latinos, Hispanics, Puerto Rico. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much. And thanks also, I want to just thank some great people that are here, members of Congress. They're warriors. They're tough and they're smart and they love this Commonwealth. And they also love our country a lot. Dan Muser. Dan, thank you very much. Congressman, a fantastic man. How are we doing here, Dan? How are we doing? I think he says great. Yeah, we're doing great. We got to keep the cheating from these people. They're cheats. Keep it down. Watch it. Call the police if you see them doing it. When, not if, when you see them doing it. Wesley Hunt, you just heard. I heard his speech. Boy, that was a barn burner, Wesley. A great family, beautiful guy. Thank you very much. West Point, the whole deal he's got. He got the West Point thing going. Thank you, Wesley. And Republican National Committee Chairman Michael Watley, who you just met, and he is a fantastic man. Thank you, Michael. What a job. What a job, Michael. Hopefully we're going to have the biggest celebration next week that we've ever had in the history of our country. Right? Here are the facts. Kamala is a radical left Marxist rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas. She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of defund the police. And anybody who wants to defund the police for even a brief moment is not worthy of being president of the United States. We have to protect our police. Kamala vowed to abolish ICE. She wants to ban fracking in Pennsylvania. She wants to ban it. She's going to ban it. She will do it in 2 seconds if she lucks out or if they cheat their way into office. And as California Attorney General, she redefined, I don't know if you heard this, redefined the terms child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as totally nonviolent crimes. She pledged to confiscate your guns and endorsed a total ban on handgun owners. This is all the stuff she wants. She's a Marxist. She's a Marxist. A lot of people say, don't use the term Marxist because people don't understand. Okay, she's a communist. She's a communist. And our country is not ready for a communist. It will never be ready for a communist. Remember, I used to say, we will never be a socialist country. At the State of the Union address, I said, we will never be a socialist country. And I like to be right, because I was right. We're not a socialist. She skipped socialism. She went right down to communism. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention. All paid for by the taxpayers of the United States of America. And then what did she do? She lied about working at McDonald's. She never worked at McDonald's before. And I went to McDonald's last week. Did you see that by any chance? That turned out to be a big monster. And on top of all of this, Kamala tried to turn our military woke, but it's not woke. We defeated ISIS. You know, I'm the only president in 82 years I didn't start a war. When Hillary said, look at him, he's going to start a war. No, I said, I'm going to be the one that keeps you out of war. I'm going to keep you out of war. And I did. You didn't have a war. You didn't lose your children. You didn't lose your son or your daughter like others did with stupid leadership. No, we're going to really do something. In conclusion, with your vote this November, we're going to fire Kamala and we are going to save America. We will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine. Should have never happened, would have never happened. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East. October 7th would have never happened. And I will prevent World War III very easily. I will prevent it. I know everybody. I know all the players. We can't have World War III. We have very, very stupid people running our country. We could end up, I'm actually worried about 3 months. You know, they're still there. We will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We will strengthen and modernize our military. We will build a massive missile defense shield over our country. And it'll all be made in the USA, and I promise Pennsylvania will get a big piece of it. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And I will put forward a bill that anybody burning or destroying an American flag will go to prison for 1 year. We will get critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports. I will defend religious liberty, I will restore free speech, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, our Second Amendment. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens and our land. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will stop criminals from coming into our country. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope, and always filled with the wonderful and beautiful American dream. The American dream will come back. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig, too big to rig. You need to get out and vote. For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. With your vote this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. This nation belongs to you. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 7 days from now, it will be hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help from now until Election Day, 7 days. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. We will restore America's promise, and we will take back the nation that we love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Pennsylvania. Get out and vote. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. God bless you.